Hey, I'm Adam Jusko from ProudMoney.com, and in this video I'm going to do an updated review of Merrick Bank's unsecured credit cards. But before I do that, I would ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not already. And if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So it's been about 15 or 16 months since I reviewed Merrick Bank's credit cards, and since that time I have gotten a lot of feedback on that video in the comments and in other places as well, and I've actually learned a little more about Merrick Bank's credit cards from the feedback I've gotten. Some things that I didn't know or were not sort of immediately apparent in the way that Merrick Bank markets their credit cards, and so I wanted to sort of do an updated review of their unsecured cards, sort of taking some of that feedback into account and hopefully offering maybe a little bigger picture in terms of what you might expect from this credit card. Now, Merrick Bank works in the sort of bad credit rebuilding or building credit space. Maybe if you're new to credit, Merrick Bank is a bank that you might deal with. So that's kind of where they work. And so in my defense, when I made the video that I did last year, I was looking at the card agreements that are sort of, sample agreements that are actually shown on the Merrick Bank site. And to make a long story short, I said, well, these kind of look like any other cards that are, unsecured cards for people that have some credit problems and are trying to rebuild their credit, very small credit lines, pretty decent sized annual fees, and so just cards that are not terrible, but sort of run of the mill here. And I didn't see there being anything that Merrick Bank was really offering that I felt was sort of worthy of any I don't know, maybe positive review, I guess. And so a lot of the feedback that I got was the fact that people were being offered things from Merrick Bank that were a lot better than what I was saying in that video. People were talking about getting offers with no annual fee at all, getting credit lines that were higher than what I was seeing mentioned on their websites. And then, of course, you may have heard of Merrick Bank's Double Your Line offer, or their Double Your Line credit card, which basically says that if you get this card and you make all your payments on time for the first 7 months, they're automatically going to double your credit line. So if they start you off at $500 and you make those first 7 payments on time, they're going to jack you up to $1,000. If they start you, $900, they're going to jack you up to $1,800 if you make all of those payments on time in the first 7 months. So based on this feedback, I looked at those card agreements that are shown on the Merrick Bank site, and they really haven't changed. It's the same stuff that I was seeing 15 or 16 months ago, but obviously Merrick Bank is putting a lot of different offers out there. Some of them very customized. Some of them, like the Double Your Line card, are probably targeting certain people that maybe don't have the worst credit, maybe have a little bit better credit, and they are getting that offer. So when you look at the whole picture, Merrick Bank does have some positive things going on, especially the Double Your Line offer. Because one of the biggest frustrations for people that are trying to rebuild their credit through unsecured credit cards is the fact that they often have very, very small credit lines. So when you have a very small credit line, it really is tough to rebuild your credit because it takes a very long time. When you have a small credit line, you obviously can't buy very much without your utilization on your credit card getting very high. So while you're trying to rebuild your score by having some unsecured credit, you're going to kind of look bad sometimes if you're using that credit card very often because of the fact that you are using a high amount of your credit line. So if you have a card that you have the option, or the ability, I should say, to double that credit line over just a 7-month time frame, then that means that you could have a decent credit line in a fairly short period of time, and that obviously is a good thing. Now, does that mean that I recommend Merrick Bank credit cards wholeheartedly or across the board? No, and the reason for that is because there is not just one Merrick Bank credit card that we are talking about here. When we're talking about their unsecured cards, there may be a lot of different offers out there. Cards from banks like Merrick Bank or others that serve this market of people with past credit problems or people that are newer at credit, trying to rebuild credit or build credit, oftentimes are going to have many different offers out there. So you may see an offer online, you may get an offer in your mailbox, and it's a lot different than if you looked at the cards from a major bank, where if they have a particular credit card product, you kind of know what it is. You know kind of what the interest rates are. You kind of know if there's an annual fee or not an annual fee. If there's rewards, you know about it. But with cards like Merrick Bank and similar banks, oftentimes there are many different offers out there, and some of them are going to be what I said in a prior video talking about higher annual fees, very small credit lines, where other times you may get higher credit lines with no annual fees and you have to double your line. And so there's a tendency to go online or wherever and look at reviews and think that you are seeing a review of the card that you're going to get, and that may not be the case. So it's sort of like if, I don't know, Capital One had the Quicksilver card and offered 3% reward to some people and 0% reward to other people, and then some people were coming online and saying how awesome their Quicksilver card was with its 3% reward, and other people were saying, what are you talking about? Mine doesn't have any reward at all. This is kind of how it is with the smaller banks. You may hear somebody talking about how great a card is, and you're sort of thinking that they are talking about the offer you have, but you may have a very different offer. So when I kind of talk about Merrick Bank and think about them as being maybe a little bit better than I talked about them in a prior video, I still would want anyone to be careful to make sure they are reading very closely the terms and conditions that they are being offered, to make sure that they match up to what their expectations are, or that they don't read something online or from this video and think a card is something different than what it is. So bottom line, I would give Merrick Bank a little more love today than I gave them 15 or 16 months ago, based on the feedback that I have heard. There are many people that have been very happy with the double your line offer. Again, I would caution you to make sure that the offer that you are getting is something that is good, because not every Merrick Bank offer necessarily deserves any extra love. So that's pretty much it for this video. I would love to hear any feedback that you have in the comments on Merrick Bank. If you have had a personal experience with them, not only good or bad, but if you are willing to offer any specifics on what your offer was and what the good points or bad points about it were, would love to hear that in the video or in the comments below. It is often hard to get really good information, I think, on these type of cards that have so many customized offers for different customers. Hard to get a lot of data points for people to understand what they might be getting themselves into. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews and have personal finance news and all sorts of other fun stuff too. Thank you for watching. Bye.